Well, for me, the action is the juice.
She like that great big fat person. What's up, everyone? How you doing? Welcome to another edition, another episode of Gonna See My Friends, the podcast where we kind of watch older movies, newer movies, and we just kind of talk about them, and we just hang out, and that's all we do. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Isn't that fun, Toby?
It is a lot of fun. I'm enjoying myself immensely.
As always, I have Toby here. Toby Ballinger is my co-host, and we're going to get into a movie here that I suggested. That is sort of like a movie that, for me, it just came out of nowhere, and has become one of these kind of what do you call those pets that that calm people. Like this is something a pet. Anyways, so this movie that we're going to talk about today is one of those movies for me because it had come out of nowhere, and it kind of calms me down. And the movie we're going to be talking about is the 1999 movie Jay Roach directed Mystery Alaska, and it's a different one. It's not one that's for me. It's not one that's, let's see. It's not the best movie. It's one of these movies for me that came out of TV. The writer, the producer, was a TV writer. He did Picket Fences. He did a lot of TV stuff. Ally McBeal. He did those things. And for me, I'm going to start out with a story here. Sorry, Tob. I'm going to.
No, please tell me why, because I have many questions.
Okay, so back in the 90s, there was all these movie magazines. One of them was Premiere Magazine, and I used to buy that one a lot. It was kind of like the Rolling Stone of film. It was kind of a little gossipy, a little bit.
What was it called?
Premiere Magazine.
Okay.
It was a little gossipy, but not as much as like People and all those kind of things. But it kept up with who's doing what and what movies were going on and whose next movie was what and this and that. Anyway, so Austin Powers came out, and Jay Roach was a big part of that. It says he directed it. So It had a little thing on the side about his next movie, and it was about a hockey team in Alaska who gets to play an NHL team. Russell Crowe is attached to star, and Hank Azaria, and that was it. I read that. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know the name of it. Whatever. Flash forward to probably about 5 years later. We're in the early aughts, and I think maybe even mid. I would say 04, 05. Saw this movie on TNT, and it was one of those instances where you would see this movie. And TNT had a they would play the same movie over and over again, like different times. Yes. And I would always see this movie from one point. It was always that scene where the sun came up and the guys are like laying in bed. They haven't slept all night. They're worried about the big game, and then the big game plays. So for I don't know, I'm not paying attention and seeing it at in the background or whatever it was, scanning through the channels, I would see this movie and I'd be like, oh, this looks like a good movie. Like, this looks like a great movie. And I would watch the end of it. And one time, I think I rented it. Maybe I can't remember how, but I remember seeing this movie from the beginning and getting to that point and going, oh, it's that movie that's always on TNT.
That's interesting. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was this, it's this kind of movie that's like, for about an hour of it is just a TV episode. It's like a TV show. Yeah. It's just, there's not a lot going on, but that lasts I don't know, 25, 30 minutes. That game, the last game.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. It's pretty fun to watch. And I think, for me to have this as a movie, and it just has that, for me, it just has that comfortable feeling because I had seen it all those times and not knowing it was this. But check out, it's David E. Kelly, like I said, Jay Roach did it. But you got Russell Crowe, you got Hank Azaria, you got Mary McCormick, Lolita Davidovich, who I had a big crush on at the time. Ron Eldard, who was I was a big ER fan, so he was in ER for a couple of seasons before he got big. And then I think he was coming off Deep Impact off of this one. But you got Cole Meany, big Star Trek Next Generation guy. Mari Chaikin, he's one of those that guys. He plays the attorney, and then you got Burt Reynolds.
Totally.
Yeah.
He was in My Cousin Vinny last week.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm a fast cook, I guess.
Mr. Tipton. That's it. I'm sorry. I was all the way over here. Did you say you're a fast cook?
So you have this great cast, and like I said, it's for this. I don't know why. It's one of the, sometimes for a while there, for a good stretch of time, it was the movie I put on when I would want to go to sleep. Like when I would be going to bed, I gotta kind of calm down. Let me watch some of this movie, and then I would just be okay, cool. But I realized that that's probably not your experience. You're probably going like, this is because I was watching it last night after I ate my edible, and
Sweet.
I was like, oh man, let's just get to the fucking game. So I think maybe I've outgrown it, but who knows? But anyways, like this movie for me, it's kind of soppy, but it's just a comfort movie for me. It's something that I could just put on, and I know it's just comfortable. I don't know. There's no other word I can use to describe it. Toby, what are your thoughts on this movie? And if you didn't like it, feel free to say that you didn't like it.
I don't know how I'm not at the dislike part in my experience with this, because I had never seen this movie before you said we're going to do, you gave me two options. I picked this one because I hadn't seen it. The other option we will do at a later date, but I was ready for something new.
Okay.
I was ready to I had heard of it. I was aware that it was a hockey movie, but I had never seen it before. And I look at you mentioned the cast. It's an eclectic cast. The choices of who are the stars of this movie are, some you go, that makes sense. And there's others where you go, I don't, where did they come up with this combination of characters?
Yeah.
So I was really interested to see, why you picked it, and your answer is makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, it
makes sense why you picked it. I was, because we've talked about what our relationship is with the movie that we pick, and there's a a reason behind it, or I have to talk about it, and your story is not what I was expecting to hear, so that's really interesting. Thanks for explaining that. Yeah, I'll be honest.
Yeah,
I don't see you. This is like a comfort. This is your pound puppy.
Yeah,
kind of movie.
Yeah, this is kind of
that's not the toy that you were thinking of. But I was like, wait, this movie is it's wild, man. There is so much happening. You talk about. This is a television episode. It's like a whole series.
Yeah.
It's like the whole season of, there are so many storylines going on that the first time watching it through, I was excited for Jay Roach. Obviously, we love the Austin Powers movie.
Yeah.
You mentioned the rest of them. Meet the Parents, Meet the Fockers, Dinner for Schmucks, The Campaign. He's in that kind of, he's not in the Judd Apatow, but there's a lot of the same people, a lot of same cast of characters, like Will Ferrell's in a lot of these. And then the writers you mentioned, this is LA Law, Doogie Howser, Picket Fences. And then Sean O'Byrne, who's the co-writer of this, worked with him on many of these projects, Picket Fences being the one. And you see a lot of that Picket Fences in this 2-hour movie with so many storylines that could be, there's like the C plot of this movie. I was like almost more interested. Yeah. The story of, I mean, hockey is one thing, and let's talk about hockey, because there's a lot of hockey movies out there.
Yeah.
I don't really have any kind of relationship with hockey at all. We live on the West Coast. Hockey's doesn't really move our needle, generally speaking, out here. But I loved like Youngblood. Mine was like Youngblood, and it was on Channel 2, and I recorded it off the TV.
We got to do that one. Yeah.
That one's wild too. Hockey movies are freaking crazy in my experience.
Yeah.
But this
the
cutting edge. What's the other, Blades of Glory, But I was racking my brain. Why is it that you picked this movie? So when I watch it a second time, now I'm really like kind of the floodgates opened up for me, and I see a lot of different things in this. I'm also thinking about where we've come through season 3 of Gonna See My Friends, where we've been talking a lot about how these older movies have kind of shaped us and how we've changed since then. And when you see, like, we've done a lot of the movies from the 80s in our childhood, Stand By Me's and the what have you. And this is 1999. This is the end of we're getting to the nut cutting of the new millennium here, right? And I see to see from the male relationships with women, the idea that the parents weren't in any of the movies that we've talked about. It was one of the things we talked about. The kids are kind of just running amok. It's their story. We don't hardly see them. And now they're grown up and they live in this town, and they're married for 12 years and they have 3 children. And their choices, the men of this town's choices, is really, really interesting. It's frustrating. It's embarrassing. These guys are morons. I'm sorry. These guys are morons. And that's the point, I think, to show the absurdity of Russell Crowe plays this character who's the sheriff of the town. And his way he reacts to, maybe I'm getting over my skis here, but the way he reacts to just any little adjustment with his relationship with his wife. The guys don't know how to interact with the women of their lives.
Well, that's that. Sorry, man. Let me get
go ahead.
Here.
Yeah, no, we can cut this.
Well, that's, I think, the whole thing about living in a small town, A, but then B, it's cold all the time. So you're constantly indoors. You're probably constantly, like, if you're not at home, you're at your job. And if you're not at your job, you're probably at home. And then they have some scenes where they're outdoors. But I think the thing about this movie that really is interesting to me is the idea of, like you said, these people's storylines and how ridiculous it is, and how but stuck everybody seems to be in this town.
Okay.
Now, there's another movie in here probably about the judge and being successful and doing all that kind of stuff. But I think what this movie, I think at least for the first part of the movie, I think what it's trying to establish is that all people do here in this town is they're just like normal humans, except they just are stuck indoors all the time. And I think that has an effect on the story. I mean, there's a couple of storylines that I don't care about. I don't care about the kids storyline. I don't, I could do without. There's
which kid
was that?
Which kids?
The 2 kids, the one that gets called up, Stevie Weeks, and his girlfriend. Like,
oh, okay.
Like,
the judge's daughter.
Yeah, I could do without that storyline. But I mean, I think that it's just it's one of those things. I think for me, it's like this soap opera-y kind of thing of, that the kid has a really kind of strained relationship with his father. Great. Okay. We've seen that a million times, but it's like everything is centered around this hockey game. It gives this kind of town meaning, and gives it kind of this purpose of a sense of, like, let's go do it. There hasn't been anything happening in this town for years. And I think that's when you finally start to see people starting to kind of reach out or amend certain relationships that they have, because this thing kind of comes in and kind of shakes things up a little bit. And go ahead.
There's like, so let's take what you're saying is, I agree. They've been stuck in this kind of Groundhog Day for years and years, decades. And then we have 2 huge changes coming to town. We got Priceland is going to build a grocery store, and nerdy kid who couldn't skate and didn't fit in with everybody comes flying in on a helicopter the next day. It's asking a lot of the community. The community, well, not necessarily the community, but Scroat, what was his name? Sorry. He shoots Michael McKean, who's up there, like, wild. First of all, Michael McKean, you could have I wish I would have seen a lot more Michael McKean because he's an absolute genius in my opinion.
Yeah.
But you could have had anybody play this role of that Michael McKean's playing. He's totally
That's
underutilized in this, casted in this. I
yeah.
didn't
Well, that's the
understand that
thing.
choice.
That's the thing about this
Okay.
movie is that any one of these roles could be it's amazing how they got all this cast
Okay, so it's
because
like Point Break Live. Anybody can just
it
jump into any
seems
of
like
these
it, don't you
roles.
think? I mean, who else do you
Burt
think
Reynolds
could?
doesn't have to be like the budget was $28 million for this. It
Yeah.
made $9 million.
Yeah.
A huge loss. I mean, just this was a bloodbath at the box office.
Yeah.
And I was like, I looked up about how much did they pay Burt Reynolds to play this, and it's all that information is not available. And I'm all good scrubbed from the internet because I would imagine that half of that is going to Burt Reynolds in 1999. Who you could have anybody play it. You could have had Mr. Tipton.
Yeah.
You could have Bailey play the judge,
I
and
think
it would
that's
have been perfectly fine.
I think that's part of why I'm inexplicably drawn to this movie is because
Okay.
it's
Yes.
so the cast that they assembled
Yeah.
for such a I look at this movie kind of like I look at The Replacements with what's
Oh,
his
that's
name?
Russell Crowe's in that too, isn't he?
No. The Matrix guy. What's his name? Old man brain here. Keanu Reeves. That football movie with Keanu Reeves, The Replacements.
Oh
Have you
yeah,
ever seen that
right,
movie?
right.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's how I kind of see this movie is like it's just I feel like the dude that wrote it, what was his name?
David Kelly.
David Kelly and Sean O'Brien. O'Brien? O'Byrne? I don't know how to
I
say
think it's
that.
O'Byrne, yeah.
Just said, "Hey, I got this story. All right, cool. Let me punch it up and let's see if I can get one of my producing partners if they want to do it." And then they were just like, "Sure." Because this it's just for me the selling point of the movie is that last game. It's the gear up for the game, and
Yes.
that's a good watch. I feel like it's probably up there with I don't know, some of the best in terms of like filming a sports game, like what's that basketball Hoosiers or something like that,
Yep.
where they
Okay.
show the game and they show the mechanics of whatever everybody's doing.
Right.
But I mean, I think that's the only selling point. But for some reason, I think for me, like I said before, like this movie, I can always just put it on and know exactly where it is in the story. Oh, okay, it's when this is when they let go of BB. He tells him, okay, cool, and then he has he starts pouting, and his wife has to come and call whatever it is. Like I just know where everything is, and yeah, I mean, it's just amazing how they got all these people to be in this movie, and it's really kind of nondescript. It's really just this plug in A, plug in B, and you can still have the same movie. I feel like can you imagine like Russell Crowe? Can you imagine what's his name? The dude that did Bane and Batman. How about him?
Yes.
Put him in that.
Yeah.
And you can see it, and it would be probably the same movie. So I don't know. That's for me is the really weird, not weird, but it's the thing that's like, how did they do this? Like, why did they do this, and how did they do this, and why does it come off? It obviously these people wanted to work with David E. Kelly because if I saw some interviews about it, and they're just David E. Kelly's on it. He does a lot of good work, and it's like that's true, but I don't know. It's just
he was a great showrunner. I mean, the creativity. This is something that he wrote in my mind. This is something that he wrote 20 years before and opened a drawer and was like, what is this? That's what it seems like to me. And he's like, how is this going to work? Well, let's get Jay Roach. Okay, Jay Roach is hot right now. And who's going to shoot it? Peter Deming as the cinematographer.
Yeah.
Evil Dead 2, My Cousin Vinny, Mulholland Drive, The Cabin in the Woods. And The Menu is maybe most recently. It's beautifully shot.
Yeah.
I mean, this is mostly outdoors. It looks great.
Yeah.
Absolutely breathtaking shots in this. I love that's really hopefully Peter Deming got most of that money. That went to it.
Even the soundtrack, even the music when they cut to a scene that's kind of like reestablishing a new day or a new situation, and they have that scenic mountainous
Yeah.
thing where all the mountains are in the back, and then they have that kind of flute, kind of that whoo, whoo.
No, the pan flute.
Yeah, they have that the doo-doo, doo-doo, and it sounds like Native American. It just gives the whole feeling or the whole scene like a familiar feeling of like, oh, this is outdoorsy, you know. But it is what it is, I suppose. But yeah,
Yeah.
it looks really nice. It looks really cool. The cinematography is really good.
Well, you
There
have
is
to do it justice because they filmed it in Banff National Park, and I don't know
yeah.
if you're familiar with the greater Calgary, Alberta area. Have you ever been to Banff?
No, but I've heard about
Yeah,
it a bunch, and I've seen a lot of pictures and videos from that. So yeah.
I've been there, and here we're going to that. I have family that lives in Calgary, so yeah, I worked at the food land.
Oh yeah, we had some asbestos companies were up there. I had to go up there and interview some people.
So we were up there. My family took a road trip, the four of us, and it was right before the 1984 Winter Olympics. So
Oh,
so we drove from Sonoma County to Calgary
how long
to
did that take you?
visit cousins. That was a 4-day drive.
Okay.
I mean, we took our time. You can get there in less time, but you only went through Yellowstone and then
Yeah.
beautiful drive. I'm 12, 11 at the time, so road trips, after day 3, you're just looking forward to getting to the Motel 6 and then doing handstands in the pool. That's all I wanted to do, really. But I mean, this is pre-phone, internet, pads. We had like coloring books on our lap, reading a book, driving up there. I remembered. Have very fond memories of it, and I enjoyed Calgary, and then going through Banff. You need somebody like Peter Deming to shoot this if you're going to go. It's just majestic, and
Yeah.
they're actually out there skating in this movie. They're out there skating on a pond. I
Yeah.
mean, this is real. You know,
Well, and also it also enlightens me on the hockey aspect of things too, because like you said, we're not really hockey fans out here. I mean, we have the San Jose Sharks, and from what I hear, that they have really good attendance. So there's a big contingent of people out here that are into hockey. I'm just not one of them. But when I
yeah.
see
How
a
many
movie
times
like,
have you gone ice skating?
geez, I have a rink down the street from my house. I haven't gone in like
Yeah,
30 years, maybe.
yeah,
So yeah, I'm not a cold person, even though I sleep with my window open, even in the winter. I run hot, but yeah. Anyways, yeah, it kind of gets me into that hockey mentality of like not only the sport, but the kind of person you have to be kind of play this sport, and where you come from, and the training that it takes, and
hmm
like because they show Russell Crowe out, shooting, and Connor Banks. I don't know his real name, but their best guy, Connor Banks, out there shooting and shucking the puck. And
hmm
I don't know how to. I mean, it's like golfing to me. Like I went out, I thought, oh, I could do golf, and then a couple years ago when the Niners in the Super Bowl, we went out to the Petaluma driving range, and we
yeah,
watched it out there, and I was trying to just hit it. Oh, nope. No way. Holy crap. So I'm assuming that
yeah.
hockey is the same for me. Is like, with the stick, and couldn't do it. But anyways, yeah. Yeah. I mean, are you a big fan of hockey films? I know you talked about it previously, but
Well, no, not really.
yeah.
I mean, it doesn't really move the needle for me.
Yeah.
As I do enjoy an underdog story, which is what these guys are, and I appreciate
Yeah.
I mean, the New York Rangers are coming to town to go skate on a pond. I mean,
That's a
these
complete
guys,
joke. Like that guy said
they
it.
talk a lot about the black ice. Isn't that what they talk about?
Yeah.
The I mean, it's just wild. Just the premise of this, that the New York Rangers would go up there, potentially just get themselves killed by these goons. I mean, that are just pond hockey guys wearing like football pads,
Yeah.
and nobody,
Well, yeah,
everybody's still got all their teeth for some reason, and nobody. Yeah,
well, let's
I would have liked to have seen. I would have liked to have seen a lot of more
yeah.
people who. I mean, they do this every single Saturday, year
Yeah.
round.
Well, let's tell the people that haven't seen this. Let's
Okay,
give them just a little taste of what this movie's about. So,
go ahead.
there's a city in Alaska, Mystery, Alaska, and it's kind of
City's doing a lot of heavy lifting there.
out.
It's maybe a village.
It's snow year round, the permafrost year round. They have somebody that from that town who escapes, and he goes to become a writer.
He escapes.
Yeah, that's what I got the feeling of, was like I got out. But that's Hank Azaria gets out. He writes the story for Sports Illustrated about his hometown hockey club, which they meet every Saturday. They call it the Saturday game, and they play this hockey game, and it's in the morning, and it's a community thing. The whole town is there watching, and they play this Saturday game. Well, the John Beebe, who is the anchor and who has been there, played by Russell Crowe, he's older, he's slower. There's these three council guys that determine who gets to play in this game, and they make this decision to dismiss Mr. Beebe from the team, to the chagrin of his teammates and the community. But what they don't understand is that there's this younger guy, was Stevie Weeks, I think that's his name, who's fast, who skates the river or whatever. Yeah, skates the river every weekend, and they call him up for this game. And this kind of introduces the first part of this turmoil that's introduced by this. But also at the same time, what is it, Priceland? I think that was
Yeah, I think
it's
it's
like a
Priceland.
Target, or it's like a Walmart.
It's unclear.
Yeah.
It's
And
a
they
big
want to
grocery
come to
store,
this,
like a supermarket.
yeah. So they want to come to this village and put a store there, which will obviously wipe out all the local people there, and the economy. What economy?
Well,
Yeah. And so you have that introduced, and it's just this movie about changing, I suppose. And what,
yes.
like, if you threw a pebble into a still lake and all the ripples that it causes, that's kind of what this thing is. And then Hank Azaria comes back and says, hey, the New York Rangers want to come and play us because of my article for Sports Illustrated. And now they have this idea that the New York Rangers wants to come, and they want to play their boys on this pond and play pond hockey. That's a complete joke, whatever that commentator said. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist. I don't want to give any spoilers, even though it's an older film, and then it just kind of goes on from there. And the mayor and his wife have issues. John Beebe, Russell Crowe, and Mary McCormick. Mary McCormick was Hank Azaria's old girlfriend in like 6th grade or something like that. And
Right.
so that causes some jealousy with Russell Crowe.
Yes.
They have 2 kids,
3.
They have 3 kids?
I think it's 3.
Oh shit.
You see 2, but he says 3.
Oh, really?
They
Yeah,
must
that's
have a
right.
baby or something.
Yeah,
The kid is
yeah.
not. I mean, there's the 2 that are watching him. I mean,
Yeah.
you're introduced to Russell Crowe's character by him trying to start his car.
Yeah. So on the first part of the movie, what are some things that are interesting to you, if any?
Interesting. Well, let's look at my notes.
Well, I think, yeah,
Let's see.
Charlie Danner.
Yeah, I mean, I like that it. I touched on it at the beginning. It does a fine job of establishing the daily routine of this town. It's just an ordinary day. Anything from the he's slap shotting pucks into a homemade net that has tin cans hanging, and he's just knocking this. So
Uh-huh.
he's good. I mean, it establishes who some of the characters, what they bring to the story.
Uh-huh.
It's not super clear that Russell Crowe's character is the sheriff. I think is he the only police officer in this town?
No, because when he
Because
goes
he's not.
to
Somebody gets shot in the
yeah,
first open in Act One of this.
yeah, and he's got what's his name? Here we go. I'll pull him up right here. Let's see, Kevin Holt. Which one is it? Oh, Jason Gray Stanford, who was in Monk, I believe, as well. But he plays Bobby, and he's on the team, and he plays one of the deputies. And then there's those two women that when he walks into the office, that they're doing office work and stuff.
That's
So
right.
there's more people than in there, but yeah, they probably don't have enough to have like a full couple deputies. They probably just have one deputy. I don't see a high crime village.
No, I mean half the town is on the police force. It looks like,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
when we first meet Burt Reynolds' character, the judge. First of all, Burt Reynolds looks great in this. He's it's a wig that he's wearing, but and that's fine because I his character is this judge character is like really from days gone by. It's he has a problem with his daughter kissing her boyfriend at the Saturday morning game,
yeah.
and not he
Nip
at
it in
one
the
point
bud.
he's smoking a pipe. I mean, you're like, this guy's from 1950. It's
Yeah,
straight,
yeah.
it's very kind of out of place.
Well, I think they had him and Russell Crowe. I was reading had some didn't really get along all that well on set.
Shocking.
Yeah, Burt Reynolds. I think there's been a couple stories that I've heard that he kind of was prone to giving speeches after his takes about old Hollywood and how they used to
Oh
do it
boy.
back in the day and that kind of thing. And I think that was a big part of his grumpiness. I think I just I didn't think it was just his character. I thought it was maybe that's just
He's
his
not
day
acting in
rent.
this.
Yeah, just get me out of here before 3. I want to go shoot some 9 holes, or I have 18 holes to go do. So I think that was kind of the thing. And an actor of his stature that's probably the go-to for the old school actors. When they put in their time, they're just like, I heard that about Chevy Chase on
Yeah.
Community. He didn't want to work. He just wanted to work until like 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and then he wanted to go play golf. And
Okay.
so it's kind of these things of like the old school meets the new school, which Russell Crowe is definitely the newer school. Although he does have old school kind of tendencies in terms of like when he deals with fame and all that kind of thing stuff. So yeah,
Well, 2 years from now, he'll win the Oscar for Gladiator.
yeah, yeah. And I think this as I tap on his movie credits here.
Hmm.
I always think that like he was always Russell Crowe, like Gladiator and all that. And I forget that he was in The Quick and the Dead, which I think Sharon Stone produced to get him over
Yeah.
here in USA.
Okay.
But he did a lot of Australian stuff. Romper Stomper, I think, was his one that got him the most notice. 92. But he really doesn't do a lot of stuff until The Quick of the Dead, which is in 95. And then LA Confidential in 97, which
Right.
this movie he is a follow-up. But he does Breaking Up and Heaven's Burning, which look like B movies to me from the look of the covers in
Never heard of him.
97. Yeah. But then after Mystery Alaska, he does The Insider, he does
Yeah.
Gladiator, he does Proof of Life, Beautiful Mind, Master and Commander. I mean, this really not this movie, but I think Gladiator kind of really, or maybe even The Insider, kind of sends him off, into kind of the trajectory of the career that he has now, But I
Right.
think this is kind of like for me, this is kind of like, when Posey got called up in '09 in September, and everybody was like, yeah.
Yeah.
And he got one hit and he struck out a couple times. And then the next season he gets called up and becomes Buster Posey. I feel like
Yeah.
this is
Wins
kind of that.
championship.
Yeah. And I feel like this is kind of Mystery Alaska is kind of like that September call up, to kind of show everybody, all right, this is what is coming. And because he does some great work, especially Master Commander. Have you seen that movie?
Yes,
I just
Master and
saw that.
Commander's great.
Yeah, I just saw that movie about a week or two ago. Just it was on I don't know, it was on cable, some cable channel. But yeah, and then The Insider is that
Yeah.
famous story with him talking with Michael Mann saying, "Why do you want me? Why don't you just get somebody that's actually the age?" And Michael Mann points to his chest and he goes, "Because you have this," and obviously, it's a great, and that's why he did it, is because he wanted to honor that kind of praise. So yeah,
Right, and it's he and Al Pacino
yeah,
about that 60 minutes tobacco.
yeah,
That's an important story to tell as well. Insider,
yeah,
he's great in The Insider.
yeah.
He has so many
Great.
monologues. The his script was huge in The
Oh, was it?
Insider, and he played yeah. I mean, he's being interviewed. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
Pacino's the star, but all you're seeing is the answers that Russell Crowe's character is giving, and
yeah.
not so much the questions. So really important, an important movie. Is this Russell Crowe's first movie as the top billed, or was he top billed in L.A. Confidential? I feel like he might have been.
Let's see. He's second. Kevin Spacey
Okay,
is top billed, and then it
is
goes
that right?
Spacey, yeah, Spacey, Crow, and Guy Pearce
Oh yeah,
are the three big ones here. And that's weird because as you know, what happens to Spacey in that movie, it's like comes
yeah.
at us at nowhere, or it surprised me at least. I didn't read the book, so I didn't really know what's going on. But yeah, I mean, I think this might be. He definitely has top billing in Mystery Alaska.
Oh
It's
yeah.
such a it's such a I feel like it's really just two movies, I feel like, or maybe a TV show and a movie.
It feels
Again,
like
it's
it feels like
yeah.
three movies. I'm would be more interested in finding in the story of the what is it called, Priceland,
Oh yeah.
showing up. The guy, he's immediately shot because of. I mean, it's almost like they're resisting the change, right? This
Yeah, yeah,
town
yeah, yeah.
is resisting the change of this. And there seems like that's a would be a more interesting story to me. And at the same time,
Yeah,
Hank
yeah,
Azaria is coming back to town. I feel like that's maybe could be a conspiracy between those two storylines, where this is all happening at the same time for a reason.
yeah.
And I was kind of like, I kind of would be more interested in hearing about that.
Yeah, I think for me, yeah, I'm the opposite. I feel like I could probably get rid of that storyline because for me, I just want to
Okay.
see the hockey and maybe the shenanigans of people trying to get laid. But other than that, I feel like the price line. That's a
Priceland, I think is what's called. Price
price.
World. Price World, yeah.
Yeah, and but I mean, I it's just you could do that with this movie because it's so episodic. It's so like, here's what happens here. Okay, the next scene is dinner here. All right, and then and it's everything. Every scene is like it's just a little more of the whatever storyline, and then the storyline with the judge's son and his girlfriend. Like I could do without that one. Kind of just I don't know. I just
Yeah.
don't care about that. I don't.
Yeah, it's confusing.
Yeah.
The everybody in this movie has main character syndrome.
Right.
You know what I mean? Everybody's so self-absorbed in this that
Yeah.
the the judge is kind of there's a mayor, which is home what did you
Colm
say he was
Meaney.
from?
Colm
Home
Meaney.
meaning
Yeah.
is the mayor.
Yeah.
So it's more of just a figurehead than anything else. And then there's a judge,
Yeah.
and the judge is kind of he's who's also the coach. Decides to coach the
Yeah.
hockey team when they agree that the New York Rangers are going to come to town.
Yeah.
They don't want the Price World, but as soon as they hear the Rangers are coming down, they bulldoze half the freaking town to build an ice rink. So it's a weird juxtaposition of the mentality of their priorities of this town.
Yeah.
The people of
Yeah.
this town are confused. The women are horny, and their men aren't paying attention to them. And it's what I think I texted you. What is it? I mean, the ladies of mystery, they're
Oh yeah,
down,
they're
dude.
hornet. Yeah. Oh
They're
yeah.
like you,
I think everybody
and
is.
the
I
men
mean,
are just all, yeah. We got this big game coming up. It's like, it's also, you know what, what I think is Russell Crowe's character's arc is very much. I was like, what's the takeaway from this? What am I getting from our main character? That he's got everything that he wants. He's won, right? He's won the life lottery. He's got the girl of his dreams. He's got the 3 kids and the picket fence, and he's the sheriff of town. He he's checking off all the boxes, and he's just like, man, there's something more. It's very much you don't realize what you got until it's gone kind of situation. And I
yeah.
was reminded of, like, where have we seen this? We saw this in It's a Wonderful Life. We saw this in, like, American Beauty, speaking of Kevin Spacey, Indecent Proposal, where there's always, I mean, I got all the boxes checked, but I'm just not satisfied.
Yeah.
And
Right.
as soon as the old boyfriend from, what did you say, 6th grade shows up, he goes immediately into a jealous, ill-advised rant. And
Yeah.
she's like, "You're an idiot,"
Yeah.
which is
Well, I
true.
think yeah. Yeah, definitely. What and I think that that's the effect of change as well. Like this
Hmm.
thing, Charles Danner comes and says, this big hockey game's coming. And yeah, you know, Russell Crowe gets demoted from the team before this happens.
Right.
So he's bummed about that. And then now they're going to play the Rangers, and they're like, I'm back on the team. And they're like, we want you to coach. And he's like, yeah. So I think, and then this Charles Danner thing with his wife, I think it's a small town thing where nothing happens or the same things happen over and over again. So now to introduce this little wrinkle, it's like, wait, you don't smile like that, which I agree with you is like he's won. He doesn't have anything really to worry about. It's just his wife, getting flirted with, which I mean, it's flattering, right? To say
Hmm.
the least. So I mean, I think that is kind of the thing of it just introduces some dramatic tension for him that he's never really had to deal with. And so I think, and getting back to your point about how these men don't really, they're not really the most communicative and they're just kind of, those kind of dudes. It's like you have to introduce some sort of mechanism to kind of bridge that gap because they don't know how to express themselves.
They don't.
And maybe this game is that kind of thing that sparks it off of like, oh, okay, I'm finally gonna. Here's how I've changed or whatever. I mean,
You
I'm
know,
reaching, but at the same time, it's
no,
like,
you're making me come around on this, because the way they're expressing themselves is by punching each other in the face half the time.
right, yeah,
Everyone's
yeah, yeah,
getting
yeah.
There's like straight up assault going on nonstop in this movie. It's wild. People are getting hit with shovels, shot.
Shovels, yeah.
I mean, the guy wakes up from getting hurt. I forget what it is, and the first thing he says when he comes out, he's like, "Your sister's got perky tits." Boom! I mean, he's already concussed, and then now he's reconcussed. I'm like, this movie is crazy. What is? And the doctor's like, "Well, boys will be boys." I mean, it's what? These are Neanderthals, dude. You're right. These
And
are
he's out
they
again.
just
Yeah.
and yeah. I'm like, dude, get this guy to a hospital stat.
Rampart.
Isn't he the same guy who woke up again from being knocked out and said, "I'm a premature ejaculator"?
Yeah.
What is going on, dude? I'm like, is this funny? I can't tell if this is funny. I don't, who is the audience for this movie? What is,
I think
what?
yeah, I think it's the TV part of it coming out because it's making light of this kind of so what TV does, it's like wrap it up at the end and so You know,
Right.
when the
And
walking,
scene at the end
yeah,
of every scene. It's a and scene. Cut.
yeah,
Okay, good job,
exactly.
guys. See you in the
All right,
morning.
wrapping
We're
that scene.
losing daylight.
We're gonna hit
Yeah.
scene
Okay, that's it
32 in
for
the morning.
today.
Yeah.
Dude. Yeah. Totally.
So
I love it.
and again, it's like, just get me to that game, man. What?
Can we
Let's
talk
see.
about before we get to the actual hockey
Sure.
game, because I do
Yeah.
I appreciate the hockey game and I appreciate how it resolves. It was very refreshing because at the end I was like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
I'm the first
Yeah.
time through. I'm like, who's going to win? But before we
Yeah.
do that, can we talk about, since we just did My Cousin Vinny and we've been talking about kind of courtroom stuff,
Uh-huh.
the courtroom scenes in this movie are bonkers, bro. Bonkers. First of all, the judge is everybody in this room knows each other. The whole jury
Yeah.
is they're all neighbors. Insane. The Bailey, our beloved Bailey, played by Mr. Tipton. What'd you say his name is?
Mari
He's the
Ch-
first. His first act as an attorney, a defense attorney. He's on trial. The kid's on trial for second degree assault. He fired a weapon. It's second degree assault. This is what they came up with. I'm like, that's almost barely a misdemeanor. A guy is shot in the foot. He shot Michael McKean in the foot. He's on trial for second degree assault. And Bailey, the first thing he says in the courtroom is, objection. Uh, eh. I'm all, what the? This is the town defense attorney? Idiot. And then the next time he objects, his answer is, and judge overrules it. He says, I'm sorry, Your Honor, I'm fat. What is happening?
That's part of the, for me, that's part of the allure of this movie is the
Is it?
ridiculousness,
Okay.
of kind of, and that's what makes it TV for me. It's this thing of making
It's like a
light of
cartoon
this.
world.
You're right. It's like it's just this really, it's this microcosm of like, we don't, this has nothing to do with how things are really it's just about these characters, and that just screams TV to me. Like, that's why it's directed in such a way that it's supposed to bring kind of some lightness to it or something. There's a lightness to the whole movie. Like you said, it's shot really beautifully, so there's this whole thing of, this is really nice.
Yeah.
And even, the coldness, it it's like you can see the breath, and I don't know, for me, I could feel how cold it is there. It was almost
No, I
like,
could too. That's a great point.
yeah,
And then this is a
and
good time of year for it because it's like
yeah.
55 degrees outside. I'm got my flannel on and the heater's running over here. It's not a warm, it's a good time of year for this. You're absolutely right.
Well, yeah,
You feel the
but the thing is,
coldness.
for me, it's like, it's just like binging a TV series. I've said that many times, and that's why I feel like it's ridiculous. I mean, there's not a point that's not, but it's
So
just,
you
it's
snuggle up.
from,
So here's you. This you turn it on. It's halfway through the movie, and you're watching
yeah,
TNT. And you pull the blankets up and go. And then
yeah,
you go night night with your
and
paddle
then
puppy.
if it's at night, yes, but during the day, I'm watching it. I'm just like, I don't know. It's just, I don't know.
I love it,
It's
dude.
yeah,
I fucking love you, bro. It's amazing. This whole movie is such like. Well, they got the title right.
yeah, right, right.
Like what is happening? The whole thing's a
Yeah,
mystery.
yeah. I
The
mean,
judge
it's
at the end. The judge at the end, and he couldn't have said it any better. The judge at the end of this, the jury goes, "Okay, they find the defendant not guilty, and we award him $42,000." Like, first of all, you can't combine a criminal case with a civil case, and the
yeah,
judge
yeah.
points that out. I mean, the absurdity of the legal part of it, mixed with the judge coming back and correcting it, I really appreciated that. I was like,
Well,
"Hang on." And he goes, first of
the
all, you can't award
yeah,
money in a civil trial. Or in a criminal case. And then he goes, "You guys are an embarrassment on this town, and may God have mercy on your soul." I loved, you know what I mean? And then he goes back into his chambers, and his son comes back, and he goes, "You're
I'm the
really
embarrassment."
talking about me, Dad."
Yeah.
I was like,
And
"Oh
then
my
what's he
God,
say?
it's an emo song." It just became this. I'm sorry, Dad. I learned it from you. Oh,
That's the
bonkers.
TV of it. That's
It
the
is the
TV
TV
part
of
of it.
it. Yes. I
Yeah.
was like, what the F? Yeah. All right.
So, but
So,
what we don't get, and we'll go forward through the game, is that we get
yes, go
the
ahead.
slow clap.
Doesn't that feel nice?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
What
You're
did you think?
absolutely right.
One last question. What
Sure.
did you think of
Maybe one
Burt
last
Reynolds?
question.
Well, I mean, whatever.
Okay.
Before we go on to the actual
Oh,
game.
gotcha. Okay. Because we're not done.
What do you think? What do you think of Burt Reynolds coaching in this game? You have
I could have coached this game.
3 seconds. Yeah, 3 seconds in the rest of your life. Get it! Get it! No?
He's this isn't the role for him as far as the coach goes. He's got too many.
Right.
He's spinning too many plates. He's
Yeah.
the judge. He crushes it in the courtroom. He's had it with everybody. He doesn't like anybody in this town. It doesn't. He doesn't like his wife.
Except for the
Doesn't
kids.
like his daughter.
Yeah.
I don't think he
He's
even
like-
likes this town very much. He's kind of just God, Chewbacca with the goddamn hyperdrive. Beep beep.
I was just gonna say, like, he's the Nick Nolte of this town.
He's totally
Yeah,
Nick Nolte. Nick Nolte
hell.
would have been. I would have loved to see Nick Nolte in this role. Just drunk, hungover, unshaven. I would have been so great. Oh man, let's recast this at the end of this, because I'm like, we could recast this as anybody, but Nick Nolte,
Oh, yeah.
write that down, dude.
Nick Nolte.
Nick Nolte would have been amazing in this.
Shit.
Hell.
Guys, don't wake me before 10.
He's just. What this movie was lacking was over the top drug abuse. I feel if we had seen some. I'm
No,
sorry,
that's
maybe
good. Yeah.
not. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen the New York Rangers slamming Reds. By the way, you look at the New York Rangers and you're all, that's not the New York Rangers,
Yeah. Well, I think,
which is obvious.
yeah, that's that helicopter they bring that brings that team in, and
Mhm.
that whole scene. I think that's where the movie starts. I think for me is like the
Okay.
or the sports part of the movie.
Let's get into
the
it.
game. Yeah, let's get into
Yeah.
it. Let's see. How? Okay, explain how the game goes. Like they come out and what happens.
So first of all, the difference between pond hockey and professional hockey
Yeah.
is instead of 4-man team, it's a 5-man team. So now they have to make that adjustment. That's what I learned on Tuesday.
Yeah.
I don't know. So they have to adjust it, right?
Yeah. No.
And
Well,
so
no, they come out.
they're
and
like, it's
the other-
completely different. It's completely different. And I would imagine that's true. I mean, those of you in the chat I've had ice skates on my feet twice. So why you're listening to me, I don't know. But what I do understand is when you're on the skates and you're playing hockey, you're not even thinking about skating. All I'm thinking about when I have skates on are, holy shit, I'm
Don't
on
fall.
ice skates.
Yeah.
Because this is hard.
Yeah.
I mean, ice is like harder than concrete. I mean, some of this stuff, and they're on a frozen pond. It's unforgiving when you're landing on this stuff. It's a young man's game, really.
Well,
and that's why Russell Crowe's over the hill at 33 years old in this movie or something like that.
Yeah.
He's old, man. It comes through.
Yeah. Well, they come out and the Rangers aren't used to the cold. They aren't used to the ice.
That's right.
They come out. They get what? They get like 2 or 3 points on them real quick.
So yeah. So the what is the name they come up with? Because at first they were like, "You're going to be the mystery Eskimos," And I like this thing that Jay Roach does here. And they're like, actually, they're not. The local indigenous people here are Inuits. Well done.
Yeah.
Very
Right.
woke. 99.
Yeah.
That's well. I mean, it's true. I was like, ooh, when she said Eskimo, and now and even back then it was like, hey guys,
Yeah.
not cool. And I love that. And so, did they come up with a name for them? They're the
I don't think so.
mystery
I think they're
misters.
the mystery enigmas. I don't know. Yeah.
Sure. So they don't have a name. They're just wearing an M.
Yeah. And
They come out score 2 on the Rangers at the end of the first period. The Rangers are down 2-0, and you're like, okay, boys. And they realize that, oh no, whoa, why? Hang on, why are the Rangers cold? Because Mike Myers, who is the color commentator on ESPN or whatever it is, right? Who's great. You're just like, I was like, I'm looking at this going, Mike Myers is in this. And an hour and a half into the movie, I'm like, I text you, I'm like, you said Mike Myers is supposed to be in this. You're just all just wait. And I'm like, okay. So then he shows up with the prosthetic nose. He looks great and hilarious, right?
You know where I can find a rub and a tug around here?
I mean, you're just okay. And then Little Richard comes out and sings the national anthem. And I hope you took the over on how long that the national anthem, how in the Super Bowl you can take the over under on how many, it's going to be 47 seconds, over under. He sings a 4-minute version of the national anthem and then goes into Oh Canada. And the New York Rangers are all just standing on the ice. The local guys are all, look at them. They're freezing up over there. Really smart. So they scored 2 quick goals on them.
And you think
that's the end of the first period.
Yeah, and you think, oh, cool, man. And they come in and they're like, yeah. They're all fired up, and it's like, oh well, let's hold on. And then they come out the second period and what, they tie it up or do they take the lead? I can't remember.
I can't remember. I think they take the lead.
Yeah.
The mystery guys go down big.
Yeah.
At the end of they go down big at the end of the second period. It's like 5-2. So now the Rangers have scored 5 unanswered.
Yeah.
And they're just there. They go back into the locker room and they're kind of dejected. And that's when Burt Reynolds gives the pep talk that's like, all right.
Yeah.
Inspired.
Hey, yeah, do you want to, he tells Russell Crowe, it's like, you should just tell the guys, great job. They tried their best. And Russell, and he kind of rage baits him, it's like, I'm not done. Is anyone here done? Let's go. And then Burt Reynolds sitting there going, yep, that's what I wanted. And they go out and then they, 5-4, they score 2 and get it to 5-4.
And the clock is running down at the end, and they have a shot. They have a chance to tie.
Yeah, and
the last,
Connor Banks,
like it's a 4, 4, 3, 2, yeah. And I'm like, they're gonna do it, huh? They're gonna tie this game up, and they're gonna tie. That's amazing. That's the thumbnail for this episode right there. Timestamp it 1:12:22.
Shit. Yeah, and then nope, dinks off the bar.
Dinks off the bar. That's it. They lose to the New York Rangers. And the Rangers are there like respect, and they're clapping their sticks on the ice, and you're like,
and
you know what? Good.
Yeah.
Good for them.
What's going on here?
Yeah. Bless their hearts.
But Stevie Weeks and Connor Banks get drafted into the AAA league or whatever it is for hockey, and off they go with the Rangers. And it's this love goodbye, love. Yeah, great. But that for me, that's the worth. That's the price of admission, is watching that first hour of this movie, and then
because you've never seen it before.
Well, yeah. Because I always and so that's basically the movie. Again, not a hard-hitting one, not one that's the greatest of all time, but I thought again, I'll bring up the reason why I mentioned this was I wanted to do something newer and something different. Obviously, this is I mean, it's not a hard-hitting movie, but I recommend this. This is what I will say about this movie is that it's safe, it's fun. It's probably more Hallmark than it is like big budget movie. They could cut out some storylines on here. There's a
Mhm.
couple that I don't really care about at all. But other than that, the game at the end is fun. The characters are fun. I mean, they're kooky. There's a one.
Yeah,
His name is Tree. They call him Tree because he's
that's right.
big. Um, and
Oh yeah, who
yeah,
plays that
I
role?
mean,
He's one of those guys. He's not a that
he was in
guy.
Austin Powers. Yeah, he was
It's
Kevin
a
Durant.
Kevin Durant. He was in Lost,
Yeah.
and he was in most recently was in Abigail, which, by the
Oh, I haven't
way,
seen that. Yeah.
Abigail
Yeah.
was the movie that you and Scott were trying to think of in last week's Thanksgiving episode, where they go into a house to rob it, and
Oh, the
then
blind guy?
the girl is either a werewolf or a vampire. That's Abigail.
Oh. Oh, I haven't seen it. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
and Kevin Durant's
Damn.
in that. He's got this look, very punchable face.
Yeah, he's got the foreign accent that you can't really place, or at least I can't, because
Yeah.
I'm not really good with accents. But he has this like in this movie, it was like it comes out of like his head was down. It's like this Austrian kind of thing. I don't know. It's weird, but yeah, he was in Austin Powers. He was in the second one, I think, or the second or third one, and he was the guy that. Why won't you die? He's the one that kept shooting like the gun and the
Okay.
rocket launcher, and yeah. So he was but and it's weird. I think he was yeah. I don't know what he is. I just know that he's got some sort of accent, and I can't place it.
Yeah, you recognize him as soon as you see him, and you're all, "Oh, wow, this guy's in this. What is he? Where is he from?" Because you're right. It's
Let's see. Oh, he's in X-Men Origins.
that's right.
Where is he from? Oh, he's from Canada. Oh,
Maybe that's what you're
that's a
hearing, eh?
Canadian. Yeah, yeah, maybe
He's got
that
a
is. I
like a
always thought,
It's got like an anvil for a face.
yeah,
I'm sorry. Does that make sense? I don't know.
he's married
He
to
was in the
Sandra
Butterfly
Cho.
Effect. Who?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Sandra
He's
Cho,
married to
isn't
who?
that that lady, that girl from Grey's Anatomy? Sandra Cho. I don't know. Uh, he frequently co-stars with Russell Crowe and Hugh Jackman. He's of French Canadian descent. Okay, and fluent in French. That's
There
why.
you go. So he's from
That's
like,
there you go. Yeah.
okay.
Named one of the Canada's funniest new comedians in '94. His films have earned a collective $2.5 billion worldwide. And yeah, I guess
Oh, he
that's
was in The Strain. Did you ever watch The Strain
no.
on FX? Yeah, that was a trippy show.
Oh yeah. I'm waiting for Silo season 3 to come out, man. I'm
Hell
waiting for
yeah,
that motherfucker.
you're gonna love it. Do you read the books?
I'm reading them right now. I'm
Yeah,
starting. Well, I shouldn't say I'm reading them. I'm listening to them.
it's wild. Um,
Yeah.
the
You got your Clay
Hank.
Thompson?
So let me ask you this
Sure.
about Hank Azaria's character, because this is a question that I have, and curious about how you perceive it. Does he write the story about his hometown that goes into Sports Illustrated, and then arrange to have the New York Rangers come to, because he's a producer as well, just to come back and win his old girlfriend back? Is that his ulterior motive? Because she asks him, and she even calls him out on it. She was like, "Oh no, yeah, I'm just sitting here rubbing my husband's feet and getting splinters
Yeah.
from pining
Pining
over
over you.
my."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Ooh." And he doesn't answer her question. So in your mind, is this his character's Charlie Danner's character his ulterior motive is to come back to this village and get his sixth grade girlfriend back. Because that's
I
weird if
think
it
that
is.
I think it's a small part. I think it's coming back to show the town. Like I
He has
think
something to
he's
prove.
always wanted to. He always had something to prove. I think that is kind of like a byproduct of that drive. Yeah, here's my old girlfriend who apparently was his love, and I understand that because there's a girl that I've known that I think about all those years later. I'm like, oh
Okay.
man, shit. But
The one that
anyways,
got away.
but I think it plays into it. Yeah, I think it plays into it. Because that
Okay.
town didn't like him, and he didn't really like the town. At the end when he's drunk and he's talking to BB, and he's like, fucking, I gave him the Rangers, and where's my parade, or where's my thing?
Mhm.
It's like, that's why you were doing this, weren't you? Because
So
big
he
fuck you to
in
everybody.
the press conference, and he's like, "Hey guys, our boys are going to do this," and then the oldest lady in town goes, "What's you keep using the words we and our boys? What are you talking about? You used to
Yeah,
you can't even
you
say
laughed.
yeah
Yeah,
you what." I love that he's called out on that, and
yeah,
I love that if somebody's going to say it, she's saying what everybody's thinking. And
yeah.
I wrote in my notes, I'm like, it really jumped out at me the first time watching it. And then when I rewatched it, I was like, yeah, get him.
Yes.
Yes.
Who's your Clay Thompson?
Mike Clay Thompson. Ooh. Is going to be Mike Myers.
Oh, that's a good one. That's good. Oh, that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. I waited. He was worth the wait.
Mine is, let's see. Fucking A. What I really want to, whoops. Let me get my notes back up here. God damn, dude. Let me get all cast and crew here so I know what I'm talking about. Gosh, maybe Beth Littleford. When she shows up, she's just so. I think she was coming off of the Daily Show. She was like,
She's great. Yes,
one, yeah, one of the
that's what I
first,
know her from.
yeah, one of the first
My
correspondents
nostrils
they
are
had.
frozen.
My God, yeah, she's just funny, and
Yeah.
then when what's his name, fucking Skank Martin is like, hey,
Skank.
how would you like to, yeah, how would you like to, something about my Yuletide log or something? And she's like, oh my God, and they're all cracking up and stuff. So I think I'm gonna give it to her. She's cool. And I don't know what happened to her. I don't know why she stopped acting. I don't know if she has stopped acting.
That's a good
Black
question because
Box.
she's enjoyable. She's always
Yeah.
good. Is
Yeah.
Skank the
So
one
that,
who he's being interviewed by Beth Lilford's character, and
yeah.
he says Christmas is a lonely time for a guy to be choking his own chicken. That was like the only quote that I actually wrote down from this. I'm like, what? What did he just
Some
say? Rewind that.
a little essay there on live TV, but yeah, it's that was, I think, yeah, that was that one, and at the end when she's like, well, I got a couple hours before
Yeah,
my plane. But yeah, Skank is the Skank. He's the town ho. He's he'll if you have fish and he comes to your house, the fish will stop swimming because he just does everything, anything that moves. So
right.
that was Skank Martin. Anyways, all right, well, cool, man. I'm glad that you sat through the movie twice. That's awesome. And next we'll get back on track and we'll do a movie that everybody knows. I think it's your choice next week or the next one because we're taking next week off, right? Next week,
Yes,
Thanksgiving. Enjoy your
Thanksgiving week
Thanksgiving.
coming up. Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Please take a moment to be grateful for what you have and be grateful for who you are. I think this kind of reminded me of we keep I mean, it's very much like a grass is always greener, like with Russell Crowe's character, he's won the lottery here. For as far as Mystery Alaska goes, he's won the lottery, and he's immediately jealous. He acts, and I think the movies of the previous century, in the 80s and into the 90s, that jealousy was a trait and a character that was seen to be, this is the way I fight for my girl, is I'm jealous. And
Yeah.
it's in hindsight, like, that's what we grew up with. Jealousy was a big issue with the male characters, would be, and then, at the end they would be like, gee, you're right. And it's got to be frustrating, because I was talking to Christina about this last night. I'm like, it's embarrassing. That's like, what, dude, you can't see that she's with you. Like,
Yeah.
it's, and it's an emotion that maybe you can't control, or you can't stop yourself from being jealous, but sometimes the inside words don't need to come out. And with Russell Crowe's character, he's like, she's like, what the hell are you talking about? So I was reminded of that. And I've been guilty of doing it myself. And in hindsight, it's just so, like, it's a yucky kind of seeing it 25 years, 26 years later. You're like, oof, like, it doesn't stand the test of time. It's just not the right response. And I think we've learned a lot
Wow.
from that.
Yeah. That's
And so
interesting.
be grateful for what you have. Like, just take inventory and go, stop, thinking, what more can I do? Maybe you congratulate yourself, pat yourself on the back every once in a while. So
Yeah.
Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
give thanks for the people who are important to you, and for your health, and for your warmth in this cold season. Just be kinder to yourself. It is my message to you this Thanksgiving, and to you as well,
Cool.
Stephen.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. That's more. Yeah, I appreciate that. That's probably something I need to do more often myself. Is kind of take stock and be like, hey, you're doing all right, man. And I
Yeah.
think we all need to do that, especially in this time and day and age. We just need to be kind to yourself, give yourself some grace, enjoy your family members if you do. If you don't, enjoy whatever you do. And yeah, we're gonna take next week off, and we're gonna enjoy the holidays. We're coming back in December for what, 2 shows, and then we're off for the holidays, and probably until February, March, somewhere around there. But yeah, we're gonna be back. We're gonna be doing this for a couple more weeks, and then New Year. Oh my God, it's already
Yeah,
here.
baby.
So
Crazy, right?
thanks again for watching. Thanks for listening. Subscribe to us and tell us what you liked about this movie. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you see what I was seeing? Did you see what Toby was seeing? Did you see anything? Just let us know how you feel about this movie. And with that, we'll see you again soon. See you guys.
Bye, everybody.
Well, for me, the action is the juice.